Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you. Lord, do I even need to preach? I feel like we got it. Thank you, Charles, my brother. Thank you. Thank you, choir. Well, we're completing this journey we've been on for 6 weeks. Our Touchstone program, we'll do it again next fall. We always culminate on the first Sunday of November in celebration, but I just want to remind you where we've been. We've been discussing the revelation of wholeness. What we teach in Unity is that we are eternally, forever, a part of God, of life, of spirit. And there's no place in the one, in the divine, in the infinite, that could be anything less than its own perfection and wholeness. And so we don't have to become whole to reveal the wholeness. We already are. We are image bearers of the infinite one. But we got some stuff in the way. And so our revelation of wholeness is to discover, uncover, and discard those false beliefs and mental patterns of limitation and lack. And so we can get free. Whew, he's free when he sings. Did you feel it? We want to live the way Charles Holt sings. That's what we want to do. That is the revelation of our wholeness. So we spent the first 2 weeks talking about wholeness in body. The second 2 weeks talking about wholeness in mind. Last week we began talking about the wholeness of our soul as being the source of our experiencing how whole we are. And today we're going to be talking about the soul's purpose. Why do you think we're here? Well, I'm going to tell a joke first. Why do I do that? Here's the thing. It kind of settles me in, and it settles y'all in too. If we can laugh together, I trust you a little bit more. If you don't laugh at my joke, I don't know what we're going to do. We're in a heap of trouble. This is actually a rerun. I was going through studying some previous notes from previous sermons, and I thought, oh, I forgot about that joke. If I forgot about it, maybe they forgot about it too. But Tom, his beloved dog, faithful companion of many years, died. And he went to his local parish, to his priest, and he said, I would really love if you, Father, could hold a memorial service for my Snuffles. And the priest said, Tom, we love you, but that's against church teaching. We can't do a funeral mass for a dog. You probably should go down to Unity of Houston. They would probably do something like that. They have this whole animal kinship ministry there. They'll probably do a memorial for Snuffles. And so Tom said, well, thank you, Father. Should I take this $5,000 donation with me for the memorial? And the priest said, well, you didn't tell me Snuffles was Catholic. My notes aren't here. I think I must. We'll see what happens. I thought I brought it out here, but I guess I had not. Okay, I'm going to tell you about your soul's purpose, the 3 most important days in your life. Are you ready? The first is tomorrow. The second is today. And the third is Saturday. Stick with me. All will be clear in the end, or I'll have to go back to get my iPad, but I think we're good. Do you want to get better? Do you want to grow? Yes. Do you want to experience more wholeness, worthiness, abundance, freedom, love, joy than you have right now? Do you want that? Yes. You're in the right church. We are a teaching and a community that is focused on our growth and our evolution. And think about this, if whatever name we give to the infinite, I love the word God because I know it's a really short word to describe that which cannot be described. that which is beyond all language. So it's just the biggest word I know, and it's 3 little letters. But if you don't like that word, pick another word. And all of the words that we use will have baggage. All of them will be incomplete because you can't put your arms around the infinite. And if we're a part of the infinite, that means that we have a lot of room to grow into. Infinite. We're never going to be able to reveal all of the divinity that we already are. And so our work is to grow a little bit, heal a little bit all the time. And I know people who've been in this teaching for 50 and 60 years who are still on the edge of their becoming, still discovering childhood wounds that they hadn't gotten to yet and healing, still revealing wholeness after decades of taking up this work. And that is, a friend of mine said when she found out that people in their 80s were still doing the work like that, she's like, what are they doing wrong? And now she's there. She's like, oh, I get it. We never run out of work. And I will tell you, you're really lucky to have me. For 2 reasons. No, for 2 reasons. There are some ministers who say that at some point they have a hard time finding something else to say. They've said it all. But for 2 reasons, you're lucky to have me. One is because I teach from my own growth edge. And I'm never going to stop growing. And the second reason, I still have a ton of growth to do. I am so far from perfect. So you're going to get, you're never going to, I just don't believe that the well will run dry with me. I'm going to continue to teach. Oh, Ken Gale, you are such a mensch. Thank you. I thought I was doing all right without it, but just in case. All right, we'll see. All right. So the point of this tomorrow thing, I don't care where you are today. This may be the greatest day of your life so far. We can hold a vision of tomorrow that is greater. And I don't just mean Monday. I mean the you that is yet to be revealed. I don't care how bad this today in your life right now is. There is a greater tomorrow waiting for you. This is called vision. The Bible says that without a vision, the people perish. I knew we had some Bible folks in this room today. The people perish. That we need a brighter tomorrow, a fuller tomorrow, a freer tomorrow that we can be growing into, revealing into, evolving into. So right now, I just invite you just to scan your life and just, here's one of the clues to how you develop your vision. Where does it hurt today? Where does it hurt? Are you having pain around finances? Then hold a vision of financial freedom for yourself for tomorrow. Are you having pain in your body? Hold a vision of physical health and well-being for your tomorrow. Are your relationships a little, Hold a vision of freedom in relationships where you get to be who you is. Right, Joanne? You and me, we have a big commitment to authenticity, and we're not the only ones here. But you get to experience a relationship where you are honored, blessed, and loved and respected for being who you are. So hold that vision. And if you're not having any pain in your life, well, you probably graduated already, I guess. But I bet if you were to look closely enough, you might see that there is a vibration higher in some place in your life where you can grow into. Michael Beckwith is on my mind, and Ricky is too. I bless them both. They're no longer together, but they have done some amazing work together and apart. She wrote that song that Charles just sang, and I texted her. I sent her a video of Charles rehearsing it and the choir, and she texted me back. And she said, I'm so glad we have no more daylight savings time on this Sunday morning. And she shared just a little bit about where that song came from, a very deep and real place. But Michael, he says that pain pushes until vision pulls. The pain is a good place to start to build the vision because that shows you what needs work. That is, issues, your trauma, your problems, your unhealed past, that is your ticket to freedom. Those are exactly the places where Spirit is seeking to reveal more wholeness in you, as you, through you. We don't have to hide who we are here. We don't have to pretend we have it together here. Start where you are, but hold a vision for a greater freedom for your tomorrow. That's what we want to do. I think I got it all in there. There's a quote. See, I wouldn't have remembered this quote if Ken had not brought it out to me. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Let's repeat after me. I don't have to be great to start, but I have to start to be great. That's Zig Ziglar. You remember him? And that takes us to today. The distance between where you currently are in your spiritual evolution and the vision that you create and hold for yourself in tomorrow, that distance has to be covered now, today. Only in the present is the only time you're given where you can heal that past, go to that therapy session, find that 12-step meeting, go see a spiritual counselor, get a coach, do the study, take the classes, whatever it is for you to do your work. You better work. Some of you know what that is. Thank you, St. RuPaul. So, RuPaul, y'all love RuPaul. Today is, and what I mean by not just Sunday, November 5th, 2023, but the present moment, is the time when you begin to make choices, different choices, and take different actions that align with that vision. And here is the beautiful thing about being one with God and one with divine creative intelligence. They know. The beautiful thing is that you do not have to have the plan. You do not have to have the map. All you have to do is have the willingness to go, I think maybe I'll step this way. And it's either going to be right or you'll know it was wrong. And then you go, well, I'll try this way. Rumi, the beautiful Persian master from the Sufi tradition, he said, when you begin to take the step on the way appears. There is no path for you to your vision except for you to start moving towards it today. And I know I have been stuck for a long time at different points in my life where I couldn't move, paralyzed by fear and addiction, paralyzed by a sense of low self-esteem and worthiness. I've been there. I know what it's like to feel paralyzed in your own life. And so I bring compassion for you, but I'm going to be a little stern with you. You got to move anyway. You have to make that decision anyway. You have to and start maybe just by being honest. Find someone. This is why I so value therapy, because it gives you a safe place to start talking. Because, well, and I know not everybody is an extrovert like me. Every personality test you can take, I'm high extrovert. But you all use all of it up. I'll tell you, by the end of today, I'm going to need a nap. I know that. But sometimes I don't even know what I'm feeling or thinking about something until I start talking to somebody I trust. And then in that conversation, some insight and truth and direction will be revealed for me. So I'm not sure what your today choices are on this most important day of your life today. But right now, in this moment, sitting in this safe place in this community, you can make a decision to change something in your life. The thing that you have been putting off because you didn't want to admit it was that bad, it might be. And now might be the perfect time for you to begin to find and discover the path of your wholeness. Yeah, I think I said all that. Oh, I will share one little thing. I have discovered in the last 5 or 10 years that when I have been kind of not paying attention to my health and exercise, and it's time to get back to that, make that decision. Because I have a vision. I have a vision of me at 85 years old, taking my rollerboard on the plane, putting it in the overhead compartment, and going anywhere in the world that I want to go. I do. I have a vision for that. And unless I take actions now, that's not going to happen. I have to do the work now for 85-year-old Michael, and he's really cute. You'll love him. Can't wait for you to meet him. That's the way it works. And so, but now when I get back to the gym, the first day, all I have to do is walk through the door. That's it. That's my agreement with myself. I just got to get through the door on that first day back, and that's all I have to do. If I've done that, and then if I get there, okay, I'll do 20 minutes on the elliptical. Maybe I'll take some dumbbells and do a few sets. I don't have to, though. That's all bonus. For the first day back, my agreement with myself is I just get there. You do not have to walk the entire journey to your vision today. You just take a step. Take one step, make one difference. We're going to talk about Saturday in a minute, because it's one of the 3 most important days in your life. But I want to talk about a story, one of the great stories. We draw from all the wonderful great traditions of the world and history and societies and cultures. We don't do cultural appropriation, we do cultural appreciation. But this comes from our tradition. This comes from the Judeo-Christian tradition. This is from the Hebrew scriptures, the story of Joseph. Not Jesus' dad, the other one. It takes up 14 chapters in the book of Genesis, so buckle up. I'm kidding. I'm going to give you the highlights that illustrate my point. Joseph was the favorite son of his father Jacob. He had 12 sons. And everybody knew it. And he was precocious and maybe a little bit arrogant. He would have dreams. He said, I had a dream that there were 12 stars and the sun and the moon, and they all bowed down to me. What do you think that means, guys? My 12 brothers, or 11 stars. What do you think that might mean? Mom and Dad, what do you think that might mean? And they were all like, you're kind of full of yourself, Joseph. He had another dream where the sheaves of wheat bowed down to him, and he just thought, they didn't like it much, but his parents loved him. His father gave him this beautiful coat of many colors as a gift to express the joy that he took in this son. So his brothers, boy, we could do a whole 6-week series on resentment, couldn't we? When people are getting things that we think we ought to have, well, that's what his brothers were going through, and they plotted against him. They took his coat from him, and they threw him in a pit. They put the blood of an animal on the coat, and somebody took it back to his father and said, he was killed by an animal, sorry. His father wept. When he was in that pit, I bet he didn't feel like all the stars were bowing down to him, did he? They sold him to a slaver caravan who took him into Egypt. He was sold into the house of Potiphar, one of the high officials in Egypt, and I actually do want to read this verse verbatim. I think it's important. Let me find it here. This is in Genesis chapter, let's see. Trust me, it's worth it. Chapter 39, verse 6. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. Verse 7, and after his master's wife took notice of Joseph, she said, come to bed with me. I know. You think the Bible is just full of commandments and things that make you feel bad about yourself? It's better than the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in places. Scandal. Sex. So, handsome and well-built Joseph has caught somebody's eye, and she's married. I mean, that's the Kardashians, right? Come on. Genesis Kardashians. She made a play for Joseph. She grabbed his, I don't know what is it, Joseph and coats. She grabbed his cloak, and he wriggled out and got away. Then her husband came in and said, what's going on? She's like, I grabbed his coat. That Joseph tried to have his way with me. And into prison he went. So now he's been in a pit, and now he's moving up in the world into a prison. I should say that he was hired as a lowly slave, But by the time he was thrown into prison by Potiphar, he had risen to the top of that household because he was a leader and he knew it. But now he's in prison. When he's in prison, he meets two of Pharaoh's servants, the cupbearer and the steward. And they shared with him their dreams, and Joseph interpreted their dreams. He had a gift of knowing, and he said, you, steward, you will be executed by Pharaoh. But to the cupbearer, you're going to be restored to favor, and you'll be back in Pharaoh's court. And it came to pass exactly as he said. And he also told the cupbearer, when you're with Pharaoh, let him know you know somebody. Let him know that, remember me to Pharaoh. And the scripture says for 2 years, the cupbearer forgot all about Joseph. But then, the Pharaoh had a troubling dream. No one could interpret it. He brought all of his seers and magi and all of the brilliant people, and no one could interpret it. And then the cupbearer said, oh, I met a guy in prison once. He might be able to help you. They brought him out. He interpreted the dream. He said, Pharaoh, what this means is there will be 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. And what you should do is during the plenty years, you should store up grain and food so that you will lead Egypt safely through the famine time. And you're going to need somebody who's really a good leader and really organized to do that work for you. I know a guy. And it came about exactly as Joseph had seen. And he was elevated to second highest in all of Egypt, the greatest nation of the world at the time. So Egypt was living off of the stores that Joseph had set aside during the famine. When it came, that Joseph's family was struggling. And Jacob, Joseph's father, said to his sons, he said, go into Egypt. I know they have grain, and buy grain for us so that we will live. And they did. They traveled to Egypt, and they were brought in before Joseph, who recognized them immediately, but they did not recognize him. I want to stop the story for just a moment and tell another one. I know we're a little late. It goes a little long on Celebration Sunday. Back when Joseph was in prison for those 2 years, can you imagine? He had this vision of his life, a vision of big life, expanded leadership, power. The cupbearer forgot his name, and he's in prison. He's been in a pit. He was in slavery. Now he's in prison. What do you do when you have a vision for your tomorrow? You've made the best today decisions you know how to do, and it's not working out. It reminds me of another story. Our principal teaching for the personal transformation process it's called the Christ path. The path that includes crucifixion and resurrection. We must die to the old to have the new revealed in us. And so the tradition has it that Jesus was crucified on Saturday, and on Sunday he rose from the dead. But there's a day between. It's called Saturday. It's one of the most important days in your life. Have you been in one of those places where you're doing your best to make your life work? You're doing everything you know to do to move to that vision, and it's just not working the way you wanted it to. I had a vision when I became senior minister here, and as you all know, we experienced Hurricane Harvey and then COVID. It has not been exactly as I hoped in many ways. I've had some Saturdays in this job. I was thinking about this talk, and there's a song. I have another dear friend. I'm so blessed to know these incredible singers and songwriters. Her name is Jan Garrett. We're going to bring her and her husband, J.D. Martin, here sometime. And I was listening to her, an album that I've listened to 100 times, if once. And it's called Gypsy Midwife, and incredible songs that she writes and sings. And there's a song called Saturday, and it's about this experience. And there's a lyric that I've listened to 100 times, and when I heard it recently, it broke me open. Here's the lyric. Jesus said, stick with me, babe. I've spent some time here too. And I'd show myself some mercy if I were you. when you're having a Saturday experience on your journey of the revelation of your wholeness, how many of us go to self-judgment, self-incrimination, self-criticism? I must be doing it wrong. Is that just me? Am I just preaching to myself this morning? And if so, it's okay, because I need to hear this. And I love what Jan said in that song. Jesus said, I've been here. I would show myself some mercy if I were you. The story of the resurrection comes, and it will come for you. Sunday's coming. But you might find yourself in a Saturday. What if we've done all the doing we're supposed to do today, we're going through our vision for tomorrow? What if when we get to that place, we just stopped doing anything for a day, for a season? What if we just admitted we don't know how this is going to turn out? We don't know exactly what we're doing right now. But I'm going to trust that there is a power for good in this universe. As Charles sang, it never went anywhere. It's in this very room. And so what do I do on my Saturdays? Let's go back to Joseph for a second. His brothers are in the courtroom or the throne room, wherever he was. I don't know, wasn't there. He recognized them, they don't recognize him. He plays this whole game with them where, don't you have another brother, Benjamin? Yeah, bring him in, hide a cup in the grain. I know, it's too much, and it's already 12:08, so we got to get done. But finally, he reveals himself to his brothers. And they were like, uh-oh. We done messed up again. They knew what they had done. And if Joseph was of a vengeful mind, he had a great opportunity. He had all the power, held them in the palm of his hand. But here's what the scripture tells us that Joseph said in chapter 50, verse 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done. You planned evil against me, but God intended it for good. I don't know where Joseph was in his Saturday, in those times in prison and slavery. I'm sure he must have had doubts. But I also believe that he had faith that what he knew to be true of his life and of his vision would come to pass. This is my offer. This is my invitation. This is my exhortation to you today. That when you're struggling on this path, do not lose hope. John 16:33, Jesus said, you will have trials and tribulations in this world, but take heart, I have overcome the world. That Christ mind in us, if we are committing to this path, not following the creeds and the doctrines you've been taught in other churches where you were hurt, but to embody what Jesus, the way shower, showed us. You will go through hard times and you will overcome. Your vision will become manifest, and it might not look or feel exactly the way you wanted, but it's going to be perfect because you are loved and you are held in this divine creative intelligence. Charles, would you come back up here? Going back to Saturday. In recovery, I was taught that if one door has closed and the other hasn't opened yet, clean the hallway. And what this means is that when we don't know what to do and life has gotten so complicated and so uncertain, we can just be held in the current of divine love and know that we'll be carried and end up where we need to be.
little stones are smooth. Only once the water passes through. Now I am a stone, rough and grainy still, trying to reconcile this river's chill. But when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer will be just one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand.
Loving God, there is so much present here in this moment, in this life. And what I know is that we don't have to leave anything outside of this awareness of the presence of love, the healing power of the Infinite One. And so we bring all that we are and all that we're not and all that we're not yet into this moment of prayer. And we surrender all that no longer serves, all that is not truly an expression of your wholeness living in us now. We let it all go, let it wash away in the current. That we are lifted and carried not by our own willfulness, but our willingness to just simply let God love us and guide us and show us. To let the God presence within us reveal itself as who we most authentically, essentially are. And so we let go of anything that would stand in the way of our authenticity, anything that would stand in the way of our greatness, anything that would stand in the way of our worthiness, any old excuses or beliefs that I'm just not good enough to do it. We say yes. Not my will, not the ego will, but thy will, the highest will, be done and revealed through the vision of my life, and guide my actions, guide my choices, that I may be who I really am, who I'm created to be. And I will stay in this deepest place of surrender. So grateful.
Sometimes swollen high, sometimes rushing wide, but never have I known this river dry. The deepest part of you is where I want to stay and feel the sharpest edges wash away. But when I close notice and feel you rushing by. I know that time brings change, and change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer will be just one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am. I'm just a little smoother in your hands. Rolling river, God, these little stones are smooth. It's only once the water passes through.
I know we're running late. We always do on this day, but I hope you will stick around with just a little bit more of the service, and we're going to go have a party. But I do want to say this, that we're not looking for perfect people to become members of our community. We're looking for people who are willing to let God grow them and smooth them. I know that's what I'm at. That's where I'm at. If you don't know your own worthiness, you don't know how much we long to have you belong in our community, we do. And if no one has told you today that they love you, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.